Hey everyone, I'm Alex.
And I'm Ben, and today we are going to dive into a really important part of your IC3 Spark exam, digital citizenship.
Now, this might sound like a small piece of the puzzle, but trust us, it's a huge deal for your career. Getting this stuff down now is like pouring the concrete foundation for a skyscraper. It's what lets you build up to those bigger certs like CompTIA A+ and Security+. So let's get you ready. So for today's study session, we're not going to do the usual boring stuff. No long lists of facts you'll forget in 5 minutes. Instead, we're going to use a little brain hack to make this stuff actually stick, not just for the test, but for your job. We're going to tell you some stories. No, really, think about it. Your brain isn't a computer hard drive. It's not great at just remembering a list of random facts, but it is amazing at remembering a good story, one with a beginning, a middle, and an end. A story gives all that information a purpose, and that makes it way easier to remember. So here's why this works. First, stories give all those facts a place to live, some context. They also get your emotions involved. If something makes you laugh or even makes you cringe a little bit, it acts like superglue for your memory. And maybe the most important thing is that stories connect all the dots, so you're not just memorizing, you're actually understanding it. All right, so here's what we've got lined up for you today. I'm going to kick things off with a story about an email disaster of epic proportions. Then Ben's going to break down exactly what you need to know about digital communication for the exam. After that, Ben's got another story about how free stuff online can get real expensive real fast, and then I'll jump back in to explain the rules for using computers legally and safely. We'll wrap it all up with a handy little toolkit to take with you. You ready? Let's do this. Okay, story time. I call this one the reply all apocalypse. And this is a true story, okay? Happened at my first real office job, and it is the perfect, and I mean perfect, example of our first topic, professional communication. It's wild how one little email can cause so much trouble. So, picture this. It's a completely normal Tuesday. My manager shoots out an email to our small team. There's like 5 of us. The subject is team lunch today. And the message is just, who wants pizza? Seems harmless, right? What could possibly go wrong? So a minute goes by and a reply pops up from my coworker. We'll just call him Dave. Dave says he can't make it. Okay, fine. But then he adds this totally random, super weird, and let's be honest, really unprofessional bit about a dream he had. And in the office, we all kind of looked at each other like, okay, weird Dave, and had a little laugh. Yeah, but here's the kicker. Dave didn't just reply to our manager. Oh no, he used the most dangerous button in the entire digital world. He hit reply all. And this is where it all goes nuclear. Because that first email from the manager, it wasn't just sent to our little team of 5. It was sent to a distribution list for the entire company leadership. We're talking every director, every VP, and yup, the CEO. So the whole leadership team just got an email about Dave's purple squirrel dream. The silence in that office for the rest of the day, man, you could hear your own hair growing. Wow, the purple squirrel dream. Ouch. I think we've all seen a Dave moment happen, right? So let's break down exactly what went wrong there so you can absolutely nail this on your exam, and maybe more importantly, so you never, ever become Dave. Okay, so the big word you gotta know here is netiquette. It's just a fancy word for internet etiquette, having good manners online. And the number one rule, the absolute most important part of this, is knowing your audience. Who are you talking to? Is it a text to your buddy or an email to the CEO? Because Dave completely forgot his audience. Just think of this right here as your cheat sheet for not getting fired. In a professional setting, you always use a clear subject line. You write incomplete sentences, not like you're texting. You check your spelling, and like we just saw with poor Dave, you always, always, always check who's in that to field before you even think about hitting send. That reply all button, use it almost never, only if every single person on that list truly needs to see your reply. So, you might be thinking, okay, Ben, got it, no squirrel dreams to the CEO. But this is so much bigger than that. This skill is like the concrete foundation for your entire IT career. You're going to see this stuff pop up everywhere. For example, when you're studying for your CompTIA A+, you've got to write super clear help desk tickets so the next person knows exactly what's going on. Working on Microsoft 365, you have to know how to talk professionally to users and teammates. And that professional communication exam, this is basically the whole thing. So what you're learning right now for the IC3 Spark is setting you up for all of that. Okay, let's put this into practice. Here's a question you might see on the exam. So you need to send an urgent update to your manager. What's the best way to do it? A, send a quick text. B, send an email with a clear subject line. Or C, post a message in a social group chat. Think about your audience and what's professional. All right, let's walk through this. So, A, a text message, probably too casual, right? Too informal for an urgent work thing. C, posting in a social group chat, even worse. There's no guarantee your manager will even see it. So, B is the clear winner. Email is the professional standard. And using a clear subject line like urgent update, make sure it gets seen right away. Okay, so for the test, keep an eye out for these keywords: etiquette, digital footprint, professionalism, audience, reply versus reply all. When you see these words, you know what it's all about. Now, messing up an email is one thing, but there are other, way scarier ways to mess up online, which actually reminds me of another story. All right, so my story is a little darker. I call it the pirate's curse, and it's all about our next topic: using computers legally and responsibly. This is a story about a friend who learned a very, very hard lesson, that on the internet, the word free can sometimes cost you everything. Okay, so my friend, he had to see this brand new superhero movie that just came out, but he didn't want to pay for a ticket. He thought, hey, I'm a smart guy. I can just find it online for free. And that was his first mistake. So he starts searching, and he ends up on one of those websites. You know the kind I'm talking about, right? The ones with all the crazy flashing ads, pop-ups that won't go away. The whole site just kind of screams danger. But right there in the middle, it promised the full movie totally free. He ignored that little voice in his gut and he clicked download. So a file starts downloading, and he's pumped. He thinks he's a genius, right? He beat the system. He gets his popcorn ready. He's all set to watch the movie. He double-clicks the file to open it, and nothing. No movie. Instead, his screen just goes black, and then this big, scary message pops up. It was ransomware. It's this really nasty kind of malware that had locked up every single file on his computer. All of his photos, his schoolwork, everything gone. And the message demanded he pay hundreds of dollars to get his files back. That free movie just cost him, well, it cost him everything on that computer. Man, Ben, that is a scary story. And the worst part is, that kind of thing happens all the time. So let's break down exactly what happened there. We're going to talk about playing by the digital rules so you can stay safe and crush this part of the exam. Okay, the main idea we're talking about here is called copyright. And it's actually pretty simple. When someone creates something, whether it's a movie or music or a piece of software, they own it. It's just like how you own your phone. Taking that stuff without their permission is basically stealing. And in the online world, we call that piracy. Ben's friend, he was committing piracy. This chart here breaks it down really nicely. On the one hand, you have this safe and legal way to do things: paying for your software, streaming from official places like Netflix or Spotify, or using stuff that's intentionally free like open source software. And on the other hand, you have the risky stuff, the piracy: downloading from those sketchy websites, copying your friend's software. And here's the key thing to remember. The bad guys who create malware, they love hiding their viruses on these piracy websites. They know people are looking for free stuff there, and they take advantage of it. And just like with communication, this is about way more than just passing a test. Knowing this stuff is absolutely essential for your IT career. You're going to see these same ideas on a bunch of the more advanced exams. For example, on the CompTIA Security Plus exam, they will 100% expect you to know that piracy sites are a huge source of malware. If you go into cybersecurity, it's literally your job to know about these legal and ethical rules to protect your company. And for pretty much any certification from Microsoft or AWS, understanding software licenses isn't optional. It's mandatory. Okay, you know the drill. Let's try another exam-style question. So, which one of these is the right, the ethical way to use digital media? Is it A, copying a music CD from the library, B, downloading a photo from a search engine for a project, or C, purchasing a software license for a program you need for work? Okay, let's break this one down. A, copying a music CD from the library? Nope, that's a copyright violation, even if you got it from the library. B, downloading a photo from a search engine for a project? Also nope. Just because a picture is online doesn't mean it's free to use. Most of them are copyrighted. So C is our answer. Buying a software license is the proper, legal way to get permission to use a program. So for this part of the exam, these are your keywords:
copyright, piracy, ethical use, malware, intellectual property, and license. And that one, intellectual property, that's just a fancy term for any creative work that someone owns, like a song or a program. All right, Ben, let's wrap this all up for everyone.
You got it. We've covered everything from purple squirrels to pirate curses, but it really all boils down to just a few key ideas. So, we've put together a quick toolkit for you. This is something you can use for the exam and, honestly, for your whole career. Here we go, your 4-step checklist to being a good digital citizen. Number 1, know your audience. Are you talking to your boss or your best friend? Number 2, think before you send. Seriously, just take 1 extra second to check that to's field. Number 3, respect creators. If you didn't make it, don't just take it. Simple as that. And number 4, protect your stuff. Remember that free stuff online can end up costing you a whole lot. And we want to leave you with one last thing to think about. Everything you do online leaves behind what's called a digital footprint. As you start your IT career, companies are going to trust you with really important stuff. Their data, their customers' information. They're going to want to know that you're responsible and professional. So the real question isn't just about passing this one exam. The bigger question is, what is your digital footprint going to say about you? Hey, thanks for hanging out with us today. You've got this. Good luck on the exam.